a Tesla semi. I'm freaking out right now.
Why are you freaking out?
Because they're like pretty rare.
How do you know it's Tesla?
Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. First up today, we have Tesla yet again urging the Biden administration to push for even stricter fuel economy rules, something they seem to do every few weeks. The proposal earlier this year was raising the requirements for cars by 2% and for trucks and SUVs by 4% every year between 2027 and 2032. Tesla actually wants a 6% raise for cars and 8% for trucks and SUVs, saying it would best conserve energy and address climate change. The current proposal, not Tesla's, would result in average fuel efficiency fleet-wide of 58 miles per gallon by 2032. And as you might imagine, basically every other automaker is at the same time blasting the proposed regulations. A group representing GM, Toyota, VW, and nearly all others is arguing that the plan would boost the average vehicle price by $3,000 in 2032 due to the penalties automakers would face for not being in compliance. They argued the figure exceeds reason and will increase costs to the American consumer with absolutely no environmental or fuel savings benefits. So this group is pushing to decrease the fuel economy standards for trucks from the current 4% down to 2%. Tesla wants it to go up to 8%. Listen to this. The group noted 83% of vehicles produced by Ford, GM, and Stellantis are actually trucks. NHTSA said the rule is focused on saving Americans money at the pumps and strengthening American energy independence. They estimated the combined benefits of this proposal exceed the costs by more than $18 billion. The Auto Alliance said automakers would face more than $14 billion in non-compliance penalties between 2027 and 2032. Separately, automakers have chimed in estimating the cost: GM around $6.5 billion, Stellantis $3 and Ford $1 billion. VW chimed in, saying NHTSA's proposal is arbitrary, capricious, and an abuse of the agency's discretion to set standards that are not feasible. Sadly, I'm not an engineer, so I can't comment on the feasibility of these proposals. I don't know if they're actually that impossible to hit, like Legacy Auto is saying, or they're just trying to argue to get things down because they don't want to try that hard. Even if Tesla does not get its way, which at this point does seem unlikely, this is still yet another hurdle for legacy OEMs in the coming years. CarWow did a lengthy review comparing the new Tesla Model 3 to the BMW i4, the Hyundai Ioniq 6, and the Mercedes EQE. The simple takeaway?
But the best electric saloon on sale is the Tesla Model 3. The old model was still at the top of the game, and this new version is even better.
I'll have the full review linked below. And we have a similar story from Auto Trader.
I think this is a really nice improvement on the previous generation Model 3. The refinement is excellent. I love the suspension. I love the quietness. I think it looks better than it did before, a bit more premium, and as a result, is more desirable than ever.
I'd say those reviews are coming at a pretty good time, as Tesla Europe just posted the upgraded Model 3 is now available for order in the UK and Ireland. Here's a look at the updated UK configurator. New Model 3 starting at 39.9 thousand quid, or roughly 48,000 US dollars, but this price for the UK is roughly in line with what the prior Model 3 was priced at, and I'm expecting something similar for the new Model 3 in the United States in Q1, around where it is now. Estimated deliveries for the UK, January to February next year, and don't forget the new wheels, Photon or Nova. BMW is now off the sidelines and in the game, choosing to officially adopt the NACS. I'm feeling pretty good today. I did post this about 5 minutes earlier than Sawyer over on X. BMW, Mini, and Rolls-Royce vehicles in the US and Canada will get access to the supercharger network starting in 2025. These companies will be working with Tesla so that the customers can find the superchargers in their car's display and in the brand's respective apps. The one difference I've spotted with this deal, BMW's current CCS vehicles won't be using the supercharger network until 2025 with an adapter, when a lot of these other announcements have them having access sometime in 2024 with an adapter. BMW did say it'll adopt the NACS natively come 2025. Here's the updated list. The remaining holdouts: VW, Stellantis, Lucid, Toyota, Subaru, and Mazda. There are a few other ones like Ferraris, but these are the main players. On X, Tesla posted a 5-minute video of an FSD demo in Austin. This was on 11.4.7, and they disabled the hands on the wheel requirement, but this is not rolling out to customer vehicles. This was just for this demo. Overall, it was a pretty uneventful drive. As you may have just seen though, some people were complaining that it broke the law changing lanes in an intersection, which they were saying is illegal in Texas. Doing a bit of digging though, it looks like changing lanes through an intersection in most United States is actually legal. It's just a misinterpretation of this one rule. It's true, most people in my circle that I talk to still have no idea that this technology exists, so hopefully Tesla continues to do more videos like this. This one was more funny than anything. Thailand's Prime Minister started driving his wife's car to and from work, which is a Tesla, because he wants to win the heart of Tesla as he meets with the company next month. As Prime Minister, he was allocated a Mercedes-Benz S-Class. The government is planning to promote Thailand as an EV hub in Southeast Asia, adding that the topic will be part of the agenda during his trip to Beijing. Speaking of China, the governor of Nuevo Leon is set to visit Giga Shanghai tomorrow, October 18th, with a delegation from Nuevo Leon. Given that he's already visited Berlin, Fremont, and Giga Austin, this is a logical next step. He's also set to meet with a supplier, JL Mag, a supplier of rare earth permanent magnet materials. Given the expected scale of Giga Mexico, it's pretty obvious Giga Shanghai is the factory that he needs to see. We got the weekly Tesla China insurance data, 7,500. Plugging that data into the table, if you wanted to compare it to week 2 of quarter 3, that number was 10,000. Thus far, through the first 2 weeks in quarter 4, we sit at 8,500, 4,700 units short of where we were in quarter 3. As we heard from Wuhua last week, most of the new Model 3s being built in Shanghai right now are still for export. Why they're not delivering more in the home market, I'm not positive, because we did hear that they got the MIIT approval. It may just be an allocation decision they made weeks ago, knowing that they were going to have to wait for that approval. We also have to keep in mind the slight refresh of the Model Y, so we should be expecting lower numbers right now. However, we've been talking about a higher number of ships going from Giga Shanghai to the European market that should be arriving in the next few weeks, delivered in Q4.
Tesla, now that EVs are scaling and he's got that machine in place, so to speak, we have now the autonomous side. And I think he's really focused on that. So yes, I think it has his attention. He knows and believes, I think, that they're close to the finish line with this latest software upgrade, so much so that they're now hiring ride-hail experts in different cities around the country. That is going to be a game changer, and we don't think he's lost any focus.
Now, what do all of these people have in common? All of this brain power right here has publicly taken and or endorsed AG1, the sponsor of this video. 2 big disclaimers. 1, never ever do something just because somebody else is doing it. And 2, whether it's due to greed in the food industry, the use of pesticides over the years, degrading soil quality, chemicals now in our atmosphere, and the rain, it's just harder to get the nutrients that we need. Even if you don't plan to take AG1, I'd encourage you to head over to their website and check out some of these vitamins, minerals, and probiotics, of which there are 75 in every serving, to figure out if your diet right now is containing enough of the fuel that our bodies need. 2 things not enough people talk about with AG1. 1, they're trying to do some good. They have partnered with No Kid Hungry, and they also put together impact reports, which you can go view for yourself. I'll briefly show you right now. This is not some marketing fluff. This is a very comprehensive, in-depth document you can go check out. How many companies are taking the time to put together reports like this? Oh, and one name I purposely left out at the beginning, Peter Attia, is also on the Scientific Advisory Council. Not bad. So if you'd like to check it out to support your health and the channel, the link will be in the description below. You can get 5 travel packs and a 1-year supply of vitamin D3 K2 for free. Enjoy. Not a Tesla app is reporting some Canadian users have spotted in the latest Tesla app version, Tesla is now adding destination chargers in addition to the superchargers, and new controls to filter by what you're looking for. Of course, you can filter by distance, power, and availability, but now they're taking it further, adding amenities like restrooms, restaurants, shopping, Wi-Fi, lodging, cafes, and those that are open 24 hours. I believe over in Europe, correct me if I'm wrong, that Tesla already includes third-party fast charging locations right in the mobile app, so maybe they bring something like that to Canada and the United States eventually. We had a recall for 54.6 thousand Model X vehicles between 2021 and 2023, but Tesla has already issued an OTA update free of charge to fix the issue. The problem was the vehicle controller was likely to fail to detect low brake fluid and not display a warning light. We got Lucid's Q3 production and delivery figures, produced 1,550, an additional 700 are in transit to Saudi Arabia for final assembly there, and they delivered 1,457. Here's some context for those numbers. As you can see, all 3 quarters this year, they've delivered just over 1,400 vehicles. However, the production in quarter 3 is down pretty significantly from quarter 2 and quarter 1. On May 5th, 2022, Lucid was guiding for 2022 production of between 12 and 14,000 vehicles. Well, they're probably not going to hit that number in 2023, as year to date, they're only just over 6,000 produced. As of August this year, Lucid was guiding for 10,000 vehicles produced, another figure they're not likely to hit this year, given their first 3-quarter production. For the last year or so, Lucid has been saying they've had between 25 and 35,000 reservations, so based on these numbers, unless there are supply chain challenges, which is possible, these numbers then become a bit problematic, implying that maybe they're struggling to convert those reservations to actual orders. I'd love to see Lucid make it, but looking at the last 5 quarters, they've basically been stuck at the same delivery figure, which of course is not a great sign for such a young company that just started deliveries quarter 4 of 2021. We'll see if the cheapest Lucid Air Pure that's now available helps these figures at all in quarter 4. We talked a fair amount yesterday about Bill Ford and him chiming in on the UAW situation. Now, Shawn Fain responds. He said Bill Ford knows exactly how to settle the strike. Instead of threatening to close the Rouge, he should call up Farley, tell him to stop playing games and get a deal done, or we'll close the Rouge for him. It's not the UAW and Ford against foreign automakers, it's auto workers everywhere against corporate greed. If Ford wants to be the all-American auto company, they can pay all-American wages and benefits. Workers at Tesla, Toyota, Honda, and others are not the enemy, they're the UAW members of the future. I highly doubt that, at least for Tesla. From CNBC, GM said it's delaying production of all electric trucks at a Michigan plant by at least 1 year to better manage capital investments and implement improvements in an effort to make new EVs more profitable. GM now plans to begin construction of its next-gen EVs at the Orion plant in Detroit in late 2025 instead of next year. Right now, that factory makes Chevy Bolt EVs. Notice how they add to better manage capital investment while aligning with evolving EV demand, which clearly signals a decline in that demand. They said, we've identified engineering improvements that we will implement to increase the profitability of our products. According to a GM spokesman, this has nothing to do with the UAW strike. To be clear, this doesn't mean that the Silverado and the Sierra aren't going into production at all until 2025, just at that one plant. They said those 2 vehicles will be produced at Factory Zero in Detroit. We just talked about initial production of the Silverado, and the Sierra is scheduled to begin production next year. Roughly 1,000 hourly workers at Orion will have the option to transfer to other Michigan facilities until the retooling at Orion assembly is done. Naturally, the question becomes, are the Silverados being produced now going to be made without these engineering improvements that are supposed to lead to more profitability? Because that's how this makes it sound. What have we been saying all year? We should expect a lot of legacy OEMs to start pulling back on their EV investments, whether it's the UAW strikes, falling demand, higher interest rates, realizing making EVs at scale is a difficult task. More of this is coming. Drive Tesla Canada reported that Rivian was toying with the idea of launching 1,000 horsepower variants in 2024 for the R1T and R1S. These would be labeled Ascent, but you need to know this is coming from a Rivian forum from one user who said he talked to a solid source. take it for what you will. As it stands now, the highest horsepower Rivian is up at 835. Rivian did just release a new software update, making certain features more accessible and adding some new ones. They've added live motor temperatures, and they've enhanced the towing experience to include a bed camera for the R1T. They also made the drive controls easier to access. In the new trailers tab, you can now save 3 different trailer profiles based on what you're towing, and it can better tell you how it's going to impact the range. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is Tesla's Q3 earnings. No video from me. I like to sit back, take it all in, think about it, and then I'll get back to everybody on Thursday. One of the biggest questions is going to be, how far was Tesla able to drive down its cost of goods sold, and how does that compare with all of the price reductions? I believe it's only 10 to 20% of Tesla's lithium deals that are done on the spot market. Most of them are done based on multi-year contracts. However, whether it shows up in Q4 or Q3 next year, the fall in lithium prices over the last year is obviously going to help Tesla drive down its cost of goods sold. Right now, for the first time, it's fallen below the prior 2023 lows that was back in April. A few numbers to keep in mind tomorrow: Wall Street's expectations for Tesla's auto gross margin ex credits, 17.8%. Wall Street's adjusted EPS expectations, 75 cents per share. Wall Street's fourth quarter delivery expectation, 492,000. Here's the deal though. If Tesla reconfirms its guidance of 1.8 million vehicles for the year, that would imply 476,000 for quarter 4 based on what they've done so far this year. So that would lead to more downward revisions from Wall Street in the next few weeks. One thing I'll have an eye on, Tesla's energy margins. It was 18.4% in quarter 2, up from about 11% in quarter 1. So I want to see if they can keep that momentum going as the Megapack ramps in Lathrop. Some Wall Street analysts do think that Tesla's gross margins will bottom in this quarter, quarter 3, which of course would be a good thing, but the truth is nobody knows for sure. The macro is a complicated space. I'd imagine Wall Street's pretty interested in if Tesla is making any progress on these FSD licensing agreements, of which they said they had at least one. Personally though, I wouldn't expect anything like this to be announced until 2024 at the very earliest. Tesla has started to hint that there may be some changes to the IRA tax credits for their vehicles come 2024, so they know a little bit more than they're leading on, but the truth is the government doesn't even know, the Treasury doesn't even know. They're still listening to feedback and making changes when it comes to certain requirements. Point being, I don't think we get any actual clarity on this until the end of this year at the earliest. For what it's worth, Tesla's auto gross margin ex credits was 18.1% in quarter 2, so Wall Street's only expecting about a 30 bips decrease quarter over quarter. As most of you guys know, I really just sit back and enjoy these days learning more about the company no matter what the numbers are, because in the long run, it means basically nothing. Think about it. What can you tell me from any Tesla earnings call in 2021? Without Googling it, could you tell me anything offhand? Don't forget, check out AG1 linked below. Thank you in advance if you do. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy the day tomorrow. You can find me on X linked below. Please like the video if you did, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.